Me and Elvis have travelled to Italy on a prancing horse pilgrimage.
Look at that countryside around you, and you're driving a Ferrari.
Fantastico.
But pulling apart our Ferrari 348 to perform essential maintenance is a seriously risky business.
Mike secured us the perfect workshop, but only for 3 days, so the pressure's on to get the V8 out and the new cam belt in. Mike!
Yes?
Come and give us a hand. I need an extra pair of eyes. Can you just have a look around and make sure there's nothing caught? All right, ready? Just coming down a little bit.
Yep, all good.
So, mate, if you head over to get the button, just a little bit at a time.
Say when?
Yeah, go on. Yes. Yeah, a little bit more. Go on, keep going, keep going. Hold it there. Right, one sec. Yep. Keep going. Yes.
All good?
I think so. Just keep going up as you are. Yes. Look at that.
Oh, mate, that is fantastic.
Isn't it? That is a huge amount of work, but the bulk of it is now done. We can get cracking.
Top man.
I'll happily leave Elvis to wrestle with the engine while I hunt for more ways to max our profit with some detective work on the steering wheel.
If Giacomo would have left it black, I think even with the white interior, it would have worked better. So me and Elvis were either going to replace this steering wheel with another one, or there is a chance that underneath this white leather lies the original black steering wheel. Here we go, moment of truth. A new old stock steering wheel for one of these Ferraris, believe it or not, just under 2,000 euro. 2,000 euro. A second-hand one, 850 euros, still a fortune of money. So all things are crossed as I finally get underneath this white leather to reveal underneath. There it is. That is the original steering wheel right there underneath. All I've got to do is peel this off, clean it up with a bit of glue, be good to go.
With the engine safely out, there's another job that needs doing before I tackle that all-important cam belt. I'm not putting it off, I promise. I've got to replace the CV boots, these rubber covers that protect the CV joints on either end of the drive shaft. They keep the grease inside to lubricate the joint itself and stop any dirt or water from ingressing from the outside, which could cause corrosion and then failure. And these are heavily split, worn away over time, and need to be replaced with new ones. A CV, or constant velocity joint, allows the drive shaft to turn through multiple angles as the car suspension moves up and down. But replacing the rubber CV boots means removing the entire drive shaft. Okay, there we go. That is one of our drive shafts, and look, you can quite clearly see how that boot is completely destroyed and split. We're going to replace this with an original part, like for like. It doesn't cost a lot of money. The first thing I need to do is get these clips off, get the boots off, and give the whole thing a good clean up. Right, I've got myself a set of brand new CV boots. It's just rubber, so I'm going to use a little bit of light oil just around the collar that will enable me to get it into position without damaging it, of course. It's just a case of easing it on. There we go, that's it. So that goes on there. Now here's my fully inspected and now cleaned out CV joint, and that's going to slot over the splines on the end of the drive shaft. And then what I need to do is get this little circlip back into the groove. I'm putting a little bit of pressure on the whole thing, which means it's nicely secured. Now this is our CV joint grease. Now it's not like any old CV joint grease. This is pretty special stuff. It's lithium based, and it means that it's got anti-corrosion inhibitors in there. It's water resistant. It can cope with very high temperatures. It's actually very similar stuff to what they use in a Formula 1 car, believe it or not. This grease will keep the joint properly lubricated to prevent overheating and wear. So I need to pack the CV coupling absolutely full of it. There we go. One CV boot replaced and good for many more miles to come, which means I've got to do the same on the other end, and then, of course, on the other drive shaft before I can get them back on the car. Right, there's only one job left to do now, and it's the big one.
So before Elvis prepares for cam belt surgery, I've lined up a very important field trip.
Mate, I've got to tell you, there's something about this region of Italy that I absolutely love. It's not only Maranello, you know, the home of Ferrari.
Yes.
It's also famous for other bits and pieces around here, which is quite nice.
Where on earth have you got that?
Well, it's famous for its ham. It's famous...
Parma ham.
You know...
You're all right, mate.
Oh, God, that is delicious. But, yeah, something you can eat. It's also famous...
Parmesan cheese.
Yeah,
Parmesan.
come on, have a bit of cheese.
I don't want any of your cheese.
This is the most cheesy thing you're ever going to do today.
You get your cheese away from me.
Oh, that is delicious. The car is a Ferrari, right? So I'm thinking about you all the time. I worry. I sit up at night worrying about things like cam belt.
You were worrying about where you were going to get your Parmesan.
Well, of course, yeah. I mean, that is really nice, that Parma cheese. I've got to tell you. So, we are going to go to the Ferrari Inner Sanctum.
Oh, hello.
Yes, we're going to the classic division. So, classic, Ferrari Classica.
Are they going to let me in?
As long as you don't mention the word McLaren. And I've arranged for us to meet a legend in the terms of Ferrari engineering, particularly on the road going cars. He's a guy called Urmo.
To be able to speak to someone, you right with that? To be able to speak to somebody who really knows their stuff about these engines cannot be anything but a help. So that is good news, mate.
Sitting right in the heart of Maranello, Ferrari Classic K is where the wealthiest collectors bring their cars to be restored by some of the finest auto artisans in the business.
Can already see some very special stuff.
Think of it like this. If Ferrari is a religion, you're just about to step into what is the cathedral.
Yeah,
it's amazing, isn't it?
Oh, my word.
Oh, it's where'd you look?
The amount of money tucked away in here.
It's an assault on your senses. Ah, this must be Lisa.
Yeah.
How are you? Very nice to see you.
Lisa,
Mike,
ciao.
this is Elvis, and this is Irma.
Very nice to meet you.
The king of engines. What I don't know what the correct protocol. Do we bow? Do we curtsy?
We have to.
Can we have a look around?
Of course we are.
Yeah?
Every car in this remarkable garage is a work of art.
There's even a Ferrari 250 GTO, motoring's equivalent of the Mona Lisa. Oh, wow.
Just 36 of these achingly beautiful cars were ever built.
This has to be worth many, many, many millions.
38 million. And Kirmo have a surprise for you.
He's giving us the car?
Yes, for us. He's going to give us it.
Oh, wow.
Now
Goodness.
that is beyond new. Look at the trumpets.
The detail in that, that's ridiculous. It's jaw-droppingly inspiring, but I'm here for practical advice to make sure our Ferrari engine meets prancing horse perfection. And this is the workshop manual for our car. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, time to try out my Italian. Okay, so, and the cinque, how much play? And the uno millimeter. You can translate that for him. Maybe I need a few more lessons. 2 millimeter. So 2 millimeters of play when the new belt goes back on.
In questo modo siamo confidenti che il motore può funzionare tranquillamente.
Okay, perfect. So I have taken the engine out of our car and I want to change the cam belts, the cinqueo? Cinghia. Is there anything else you could suggest that I change whilst I have it out?
Io cambierei anche le cinghie accessori, di alternatore, compressore AC. Farei un controllo su questo cuscinetto che tiene su questa puleggia, che non ci sia gioco, ok?
Irmo's also keen to emphasise the importance of using original Ferrari parts, as they'll add value when we come to sell the car.
Ma il motore per Ferrari già dal nostro fondatore era tutto. Non per niente tutti i motori Ferrari sono stati progettati e ingegnerizzati in Ferrari e vi posso garantire che ad ogni motore, ogni motore nuovo, c'è un'attenzione dall'ufficio tecnico di progettazione, alle tecnologie, alla qualità, tutti quanti per verificare la bontà dei progetti che facciamo.
I mean, this has been very helpful, very, very good. I'm very grateful, so thank you so much. My Italian is not so good. Little, piccola, Italiano. Thank you so much. Right, I can't put this off any longer. It's time to translate Irmo's words into action. I've got a dial test indicator gauge sat into cylinder number 1, and I'm going to turn the engine over using this big brace bar until the piston is at its highest point in its compression stroke. And once there, I'm going to mark the position very carefully of every one of our camshafts, the belt, the pulleys, the tensioners, everything, so that when I put it all back together, I know it's in exactly the same spot. So that's now at top dead centre on piston number 1, which means I can now take a paint pen and mark the position of all of these pulleys. The 348 engine was slightly unusual because other Ferrari engines of the day had 2 cam belts, one for either side of the engine, whereas this one has just a single long belt. Its job, though, is absolutely no less important because what it does, it controls the timing of the engine, and that means how the valves open and close in relation to the pistons moving up and down inside the cylinders. The tolerances on these engines are so fine that if that's just the tiniest bit out, the consequences could be catastrophic. Next, I need to remove the front pulley, so I need another pair of hands to lock the flywheel into position. Marius, I'm going to take the front pulley off. Could you lock the flywheel in position? Thank you. Tell me when you're ready.
Okay, it's in place.
Yeah, okay, here we go. Okay, thank you. Then, once we've undone the tensioner, I can get the old cam belt off. Yeah? Okay, that's it. Okay, thank you. Yeah, lovely. Right, here we go, there we go. Right, look at that. What an enormous cam belt. But effectively, that can go in the bin. The new Ferrari cam belt actually cost less than €50, but I'm taking Irmo's advice and changing some other key components while I've got the chance. This is an idler wheel, essentially a bearing, and this is the tensioner. By adding those into the mix, it brings the cost up to just over €500, which of course is a little bit more, but it's impossible to get to these with that engine in the car, and let's face it, no one wants to be taking that out again. This is the moment. This is the very reason this entire engine came out of the car, is to fit this new timing belt. And because it's a single belt on these engines, it's long, and that means I'm definitely going to need more than one pair of hands. I'm going to need to get this in position and held in the right place. So there we go, we get that on there. And if we can hold that, get that over that camshaft, that's it. Let's make sure we get these marks lined up. See, so we need to pull this back. That's it, a little bit more. Yep, that's it. Okay. A little bit more. It's like trying to wrestle an octopus. There's tentacles everywhere and they've all got to be perfectly lined up. And this is a little special tool that we can use to try and just lever the belt over that tensioner. But of course, at the same time, we've got to make sure nothing moves. And it's tight. Almost. Ah. Yes, come on. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I think we're on. Yes. Ah. Okay. Thank you guys. Thanks, Romeo. Oh. That is a mammoth challenge. But that means that's now on and in place. Everything's timed up exactly as it should be. I've just now got to get the bottom pulley on, the cover back on. I've got 2 new auxiliary belts for the air conditioning, the alternator, and then finally we can get this engine back into that car before we get kicked out of this workshop. What a mission.
Right, that engine is going to be in the car. Engine's in the car. Engine's in the car. Engine is in the car. I was just sort of willing and hoping that that would be in that by now.
Yeah, I was hoping that too, but it's not. It's ready to go in, if that helps. But it's a massive amount of work, mate.
OK, well, that's a bit of a problem because we've literally got hours left of this workshop, so we're going to have to jump on this. And we are sort of up against another clock as well because Autodromo di Modena, which is a nice little race circuit in this area, I once visited 10 years ago. They found out that we're in the area and they've invited us and our Ferrari down to give the car a bit of a shakedown on their track.
Nice, that's exciting.
Tomorrow.
OK, great. Well, I mean, sleep's overrated anyway, isn't it?
It is.
Mamma mia, it's going to be a long night.